One time for my kids from the old school. 2 times for the ambassador of cool.
Yo, welcome to the Gig Life Podcast. I'm your host, Stevie Taylor. Happy New Year to you and yours. Hope you stay safe and well. Just quickly before we rip into this episode, if you dig this podcast, please leave a 5-star review in your app or wherever you listen to this podcast. Follow on Instagram and Facebook, subscribe and click on that notifications bell. There's heaps of stuff coming up, so you really don't want to miss a thing. Leave a tip or a donation if you dig. All links are in the show notes or at thegiglifepodcast.com. My guest today is Christian Lauofo, aka A2, the Brown Wunda. A2 is a brilliant multi-instrumentalist, composer, producer, and audio engineer. He has a brand new podcast out called the Wundaland Podcast, and he has a new album coming out really soon. This is episode 129, and I hope you enjoy my conversation with A2, the Brown Wunda. I think we're rolling. Now in the house tonight, the oos on the loose, hanging out with this goose.
How long have you been holding on to that one?
I spent all day writing that.
Genius, mate. No.
The ambassador of cool, A2, the Brown Wunda. How's it going, bro?
My man.
Welcome to
Very good, bro.
Welcome to the Gig Life Podcast.
Cheers, brother. Thanks for having me.
No, sweet as. We'll talk a little bit more about your podcast a little bit later, but one thing that I need to say about that is like I've listened to your podcast and I need to up my intro game. Your intro's awesome. That was so cool, man. You're like, and I was going, oh, was that your first episode? Nah, you sound like you've been doing that intro for years. That was wicked.
That's years in the making, though.
Okay. Just like my opening line, right?
Cheers, brother.
Yeah. No, awesome, man. Yeah, what's going on, bro? You're over on the northern beaches of Sydney at the moment. I'm Parramatta sort of region.
Western beaches.
Yeah, what's the day in the life of A2 at the moment? What's going on post Christmas, New Year's?
I haven't really had a break, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky. Like my job, just been working right through the whole from lockdown to what it is now. And we've been busier than ever. Yeah. I work at Roland in the warehouse, so I lift pianos all day and drum kits.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So you would have seen the new V-Drums kit come through. Were you allowed to unbox them and play them in the warehouse? Or
man, I see everything, mate. I see all the new keyboards.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been pretty lucky. Like we've just been and like I know a lot of people have been unfortunate in these times, but like Roland has just been killing it. Like because everyone's staying home.
That's it, eh?
People buying instruments, so
yep.
We've just been flat out the whole time.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't got room in here for a keyboard yet, but my lockdown purchase was my first fretless bass. I've been wanting one for years. Yeah. So that's cool, man. It's good fun. Good fun, the old fretless.
You've got a bit of a Jacko?
Yeah, another level. Get in there, bro.
Don't sell yourself short, mate.
Yeah, man. So what about music? Before the lockdown and you know how things are sort of opening up again, getting out and playing any gigs? I saw you playing with Uptown Funk. Were you playing with those? With that band?
Yeah. So I kind of stopped doing band gigs. I'm grateful for the opportunity to play like 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
But that was just crazy, eh?
Yeah. Especially working a full-time job. Yeah.
Working full-time, trying to do my own music and playing in the covers band was just in the end, it was just too much for me.
Yep.
But I ended up playing with Uptown Funk for a couple of years, playing bass.
Okay.
And man, I learned a whole lot of stuff, eh? Like I could never sing and play bass before that.
Right.
But then I was kind of forced to in the end. And like the more, you just had to do it, eh? At the gigs.
Can you sing and play guitar or?
Still working on it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually trying to rap and play instruments at the same time.
Oh, wow.
No one really does that, eh?
That must be tough.
Oh, bro, it's like the hardest thing. You got three different rhythms going at the same time.
Well, yeah, and just the changes in phrasing, and you don't want to be that monotonal rapper too, just doing the same phrase. You know, people get bored of that.
Got to sound natural, and it's a work in progress.
Yeah. I mean, Anderson .Paak does a pretty good job of that.
he's another level there.
Well, he can do. He's pretty awesome.
But it's crazy because there's a lot of drummers that can do that.
Yeah.
I guess drummers are like used to playing different rhythms at the same time.
Yep.
But because I play mostly guitar and bass.
Yep.
That's just like I can't get my head around it. It just does my head in sometimes. But yeah, it's the kind of thing I'm working on.
Yeah. You got a new album coming out soon?
Yep. I've been saying that for about 4 or 5 months now. The longer I leave it, the more songs I come up with.
The
more unfinished songs I have. But February, March is kind of my deadline. And I do have enough material to kind of finish it. If I just knuckle down, put my head in, I can finish it. But it's time. And a whole lot of different things happening, just life in general, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
Get distracted.
Yeah. So let's roll back a little bit. So what I don't want to do is, and I'll probably end up doing it anyway by mistake. But see, let's just let you explain the premise of your podcast, the Wundaland Podcast, and then when that's explained, when we start talking about, your early days and stuff, I'll try and be a little bit conscious of not repeating what you're saying in your podcast. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, sweet. Late 2021, you brought out a podcast called the Wundaland Podcast. So tell us a little bit about that.
So podcast is pretty new for me. Like, even just listening to a podcast has been pretty new experience for me. And to be honest, I'm kind of sick of listening. Well, I shouldn't say it. It's kind of sick of listening to music. I want to kind of just escape somewhere else, get information, and I've actually so I have been looking for a podcast that I want to hear.
Yep.
And it's more like a general kind of thing. So all the things that I love.
Yep.
Which music, life, my culture.
Yep.
Obviously food.
Yep.
Because you know.
Oh, okay. Just on that, the statement of the year so far is in your first podcast, and you said, "Food, because if we don't eat, we die."
That's exactly right.
Oh, it's like
not fancy food, cheap food,
whatever,
quick food, fast food, slow food. Man,
yeah.
That's the fountain of life.
Yeah.
So yeah, all those kind of things, sport, and I just wanted to, because I couldn't find anything out there that has all that kind of stuff. Like a lot of podcasts, and they kind of like focus on like one avenue kind of thing.
Yep.
Which is cool, because then I can, like, if I want to hear this certain thing at this time, like I can just go straight to that.
That's it.
Which is what is handy. But for me, like I thought I'd share all those kind of things all in one podcast. Mm-hmm. And coming from a music background, so I was working on my second album this new album, and I needed a break, like just mentally needed a break. And this podcast thing has always been in the back of my mind.
Yep.
I thought, oh, hell, what better way to take a break than just go completely into a different direction and work on and tell other people's stories.
Yep.
Yeah. And like I went from just couldn't write a song or couldn't write any lyrics to just, when I was writing up podcast ideas, man, the brainstorm just kind of like,
that's cool, man.
It just came out.
Yeah.
Because you're using like a different creative side of your mind, I guess. And you have a different objective, different goal. So yeah, and then I just started. I already had the song Wundaland from my first album. I thought I'd remix that. Remix that for the intro and decided I want to just call it Wundaland, keep the brand going.
Yeah.
And then, well, here I am now. Like, damn. It's been a real good experience for me. It's been like therapy for me.
Oh, that's great.
Just talking. I don't get to talk very often.
Yeah. It's definitely cathartic, that's for sure. And you you just learn so much from other people. You know, that's the biggest thing I get out of doing this podcast. And you mentioned before about you got sick or you don't like listening to music. Yeah, I was a little bit like that too, and I had a hard time trying to find new music to listen to. But since I've been doing this podcast, I'm kind of, I won't say forced, but for example, when I knew I was going to be talking to you, I listened to your Kilograms album, which I probably wouldn't have seen because I haven't seen that advertised too much.
Good.
And fuck, bro, that album blows me away. It's just awesome. I don't understand why it's not out there more. You know what I mean? And it's with the different guests that I have. You know, I go back and go and find their albums, and I'm listening to their music, and it's just made me love so many more artists. You know what I mean? It's really, really, really cool thing about this podcast.
And that's the cool thing about discovering new music. You have a new found love for it, and you're kind of refreshed and you're reset your mind, and now you're kind of just keen to listen to new stuff. Yeah, because
So the reason I got you to talk about your podcast there is because like very early on, your first episode, you talk a little bit about your like a really short snippet of your life up to now, and so I thought we will roll back and maybe dive a little bit deeper into some of that stuff, or get you to don't have to get too deep, but for a start, like you're from Wellington in New Zealand, Porirua. I'm from Masterton, which is in the Wairarapa, just over the Rimatakas. When I was listening to you telling your story and how you ended up here in Sydney, Australia, our stories are very, very much the same. I'm a little bit older than you. I came here in December '94, and I was 19, and you came in 1995, and you were 15.
15, yeah.
Yeah, and likewise, my father had come over here first to sort of set up shop, get a job, get somewhere to live, and then myself, my mother, and my brother came over. The difference is I didn't get to go to school. My younger brother did. He got to do a couple of years at school, and it was just straight into work for me. And you also mentioned the culture shock, and it was massive, bro, because for one, I'd never been in an airplane.
Yeah, right.
So flying over here was one thing. Walking out the Sydney terminal doors, like when we left Wellington, and like you said, windy Wellington, I had a jumper on, I had jeans on when I left.
Yeah.
And it was summer in New Zealand, and those sliding doors open, bro, and it was 40 degrees. It was like getting punched in the face. Yeah. So you grew up in Porirua in Wellington. Tell us a little bit about your musical upbringing, and how you sort of got into music and started playing instruments, and what was that first instrument, and also what was the music that you were listening to?
Yeah. So music growing up. My parents were devout Christians. They were strict Christians. We had to pretty much went to church 4 or 5 days a week, or had something to do with church. 4 or 5 days a week. We do like Bible reading every Sunday after church. Went to church in the morning on Sunday at one church, and then a different church in the afternoon, and then had to read Bibles on Sundays, me and my brother. So church, music, choir. Samoans would have this kind of cultural festival kind of thing where, you sing in groups and you do the sa-sa, it's called a sa-sa, like a slap dance. And, they'd just be singing away kind of thing. So I was a part of that, church choirs. And then I went to school. Actually, so it wasn't until I was an intermediate, which is like 10 or 11 years old, that I actually started being interested in music, as in playing instruments. My uncle had a guitar hanging up on the kitchen wall, and he'd play it every time, parents and aunties and uncles come over. They'd have a party, and then he'd grab the guitar and just jam on it. They'd be singing at the top of their lungs, and then, I'd see this all the time. And then, that guitar on the wall, I always wanted to touch it, But it took me ages to even have the balls to go and take it off the wall.
Were you allowed though? Did Uncle say you just grab it, boy?
No, he never said that.
He never said anything?
He never said anything. It was just, it's like a relic. You know how you see things on the wall and then you say, well, I shouldn't be touching that kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
So no one was home one time and I just grabbed the guitar.
Yeah.
And I remembered the shape that he had his fingers in. Yeah. It was a D chord, and then I tried it, put the fingers on the strings, and then strummed it, and that was like the moment, that just opened up everything, because I could hear the chord. I actually played the chord. Still couldn't play actual songs yet, but just the fact that I did that was, now I think back to that was life-changing. And then I got together with some guys at school, started a band, just playing Jackson 5 kind of things. Started playing Wonderful Tonight and Wipeout, all the usual stuff. What else is there? Music. Oh, and throughout this whole time, my dad had a vinyl collection. And his vinyl collection was kind of eclectic. It's not your... People would think that I was listening to, all the Motown stuff or, all that kind of black music. But he had Neil Diamond, Bruce Springsteen and E Street Band vinyl, Barbra Streisand. So I grew up literally with a wide variety of music, listening to eclectic. And because it was vinyl, I'd open it up, read it. And then I think that's where my fascination with the production side, the studio side of music came in. Just opening it up and reading it. And some of those vinyls had behind the scenes photos in the studio.
Yeah, right.
And they always look cool to me.
Yeah. And they're always dressed to the nines,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the shirts and iron slacks with the seam down the middle, leaning over that massive Neve desk or across the across the tape machine or something like that. Yeah.
Cigarettes.
Yeah.
Or some people still do that. Anyway.
Yeah.
And so my music upbringing was just so vast and wide that to the point where I'm confused.
Right.
I wanted to play guitar, I wanted to play bass, I wanted to play piano. My first lessons in instrument was at piano lessons. I hated it. I didn't want to go to piano lessons. All the cool guys were going to guitar lessons, but here I am, piano lessons.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then,
that was the same with me. Piano. I started on piano, and it was around that same time as you too. I was first form intermediate, and I went into Decca. Remember Decca? The store Decca.
Yeah, the store. Yeah.
Yeah, it was around Christmas time, and there was this piano song playing over the loudspeaker, and I said to my mum, "Can you go and ask the lady who this is?"
Oh.
And so she went and asked, and they had the cassette tape sitting on the thing, and it was Piano by Candlelight by a New Zealand pianist called Carl Doy, and he just played covers, right? But it was just incredible. And then from that moment on, I wanted to play piano. And then another time I was walking down the street. I wasn't actually playing at that stage, but I was walking down the street, and our local music store had it's a guitar in the window. Yeah, and I went, piano and awesome, so so then I went and got piano lessons with this old lady called Mrs. Gold, and she had this grand piano inside her tiny wee little flat, Yeah. And I was amazed how she got the piano in there. It's almost like they put the piano on the floor and then built the house around it. Yeah. But yeah, it was piano for me. I liked it, but then she was a little bit too. She had a ruler, man, and if my technique on my fingers was a bit off, whack.
Yeah, well,
she smacked me, So I got over that.
Yeah, me.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Bo. Back to you.
We also.
Yeah. Oh, actually, can we go back to the church? The music in the church and the church band. I didn't go to church, so I don't understand that whole sort of church band thing. And so to be so how did it work if you wanted to play music in the church band? Not just choir, but if you wanted to come in and play guitar or drums or whatever, were you given an opportunity to give it a go, or did you have to sort of work your way into it? Was it sort of a revolving sort of thing? You know what I mean? Or was there the set guys that were there and you just had to sort of sit and watch until you were sort of up to speed type thing?
No, it wasn't like a Pentecostal church. It was Catholic church. So we weren't playing like you didn't have to have chops or anything.
No, I'm not talking about the whole gospel chop thing. That's
yeah. So it was pretty much just like an organ or piano and a guitar.
Oh, right. Okay. Gotcha.
And like, I guess as soon as someone in the church had an inkling that you could play anything, it's like, yep, you're up.
Okay, cool.
Hey, grab the guitar, you're playing.
That's great.
So, yeah. So I kind of learned how to play a lot of the hymns and church songs from memory because I couldn't read music back then. So I'm just kind of going off the top of my head and just following the organ player. But it was a cool time. Like I didn't have an amp or anything. It was just an acoustic guitar. So from the get-go, I was playing loud, the acoustic guitar loud in the church so everyone can hear. And then, I played guitar in like the cultural events that the Samoans would have. So I'd be playing guitar in the middle of a cricket field sort of thing. Like Māoris do too. In the kapahakas, and I was doing that right up to when I moved over here to Australia. My uncle knew I could play guitar, so I ended up playing guitar at his church every week. And it was kind of, it was cool. It was a good school of music. The old church, you had to play it right, or it was, they'd look at you funny.
What do you reckon was the biggest lesson that you learnt from playing in church?
Listening to everyone is that's probably the biggest lesson. Listening as in, like, you got to listen to where the music's going, and watching the conductor sort of thing. So you got, just be aware of what's happening in the space. Kind of like, bands nowadays, you're always looking around at what the other guy's going to do next, or if anyone's going to give you a sign, sort of thing, at the top or something. So I learned that in church, like just be aware of everyone, because everyone's playing a part in the song.
Now, going from jamming in the church band with just a guitar and an organ or keyboard player, what effect did that have on your timekeeping and your time playing? So if you went and all of a sudden was playing with the drummer, you know what I'm saying there? Was it hard to adapt? Do you sort of develop your own sort of time between yourself and the organ player, and then you get with the drummer and you kind of struggled?
You know what? I've never practiced time.
Okay.
I never. Maybe I was just kind of, just naturally born playing in, being able to play in time. But I never practiced. I never practiced metronome, or I don't even know what a metronome was growing up. But yeah, like maybe it was just from playing songs.
Yep.
Like playing to recorded songs. But I don't know. Yeah, I've never had any trouble playing in time. I have trouble soloing in time.
You just tell everyone you just I crossed the bar lines. That was on purpose. That was this new phrase. Check this phrase out.
Yeah.
Watch this.
My rhythm is like the ball of me, but solo, forget it. Everyone says when I play it was like, hey, take a solo. I was like, nah.
Yeah.
Just finish the song now, mate.
2-bar break. Oh yeah, awesome. So you okay? So let's head over to Australia now. So how did that come about? The decision to move from New Zealand to Australia.
Well, I was 15. I don't even know like how my parents decided to move. I don't even remember them deciding.
Yep.
Or even telling us they were moving over. All I remember is my dad going to Australia. I had family here. Like I had cousins.
Yep.
But yeah, like just pretty much one day my dad flew over here and my mum got a car, started driving. She never used to drive. So like it was a big change for all of us. I think, and he went over maybe a year to work and sort out a school for us boys, and a place to stay. It was like pretty sudden how it all happened. Like I wasn't aware of what was happening. I was 15, and my parents, kind of growing up, my dad wasn't the one kind of guy that would tell you what's happening in life.
Yep. The experience for me was, I think we kind of knew we were coming over, and my dad was, we'd had a family business and we lost that, and then we were sort of struggling for work, and then one day, because I've got aunties and uncles over here too, and my grandmother had been over here in Sydney for a holiday, and she went back to New Zealand, and my dad was looking through the newspaper and the classifieds, and he saw an ad for a job, workshop manager in his trade. So he just the next day just rang this fella up and said, "Look, I'm in New Zealand. Can I come over for an interview?" And the guy goes, "Yeah."
Yeah, well.
So he took a bit of a chance and came over and did the interview and got the job, but he had to come over here and work on probation. So that's why he came and did it by himself. And then when we moved over, it was like, okay, we're moving to Australia. To me, it was like me and my little brother was like, oh, cool, we're going on holiday to Australia because we hadn't been anywhere before.
Yeah.
And that's how it was for the first sort of 6 months, and then the novelty of it all sort of wore off, and then next thing you know was that the whole culture shock thing came, and and I wasn't at school. I was just working, and it was full on until you realise, oh shit, I'm in a different part of the world.
Like this is it.
That's it. This is it now.
Yeah. Well,
was there any stage there where you felt sort of homesick or felt like you wanted to go back? Because it happened to me. Probably about 6-8 months in, I was over it.
I think I just missed the people who I grew up with.
Yep.
But like the culture shock thing, I didn't actually know I was feeling that.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize I was going through that until that's what I went through like a few years ago.
Okay.
And then I realized, oh hell, yeah. Those are sort of that's what I was feeling at the time. So because I didn't know that that's what I was actually feeling, I was like just confused, pretty much.
Right.
Didn't know what to do, and like hell, this is it. Like I'm here, this is it. So I was just kind of drifting. I went from New Zealand, I was like top student, getting good grades, to come in here and I'm like at the bottom of the class kind of thing, because I'm just like lost. Not lost in, just like confused. And it's kind of hard to explain, eh?
That just reminded me of something in your episode, in your introduction episode, when you're talking about when you're at doing the sound engineering course, and then you were sort of sitting up the back of the class and not sort of focusing, and then going to eat your lunch in the toilet and that kind of thing. The whole introvert sort of thing.
Yeah.
You think it was that?
I think that was pretty much a turning point. Moving here, I've always been like I know I've always been someone who kind of kept to myself, never really talked. But like you give me amongst friends, and then I'm like just my pants are on fire when I'm with my friends. But yeah, just in that kind of situation, since moving to Australia, it just my confusion and me missing my friends and stuff and being lost kind of maybe just kickstarted that introvert personality. And like again, like introvert, like that feeling, I didn't know that's what I was feeling. Like I didn't know anything about what's the word, like introvertism.
I'm not sure.
Introvert. Nah. Yeah. So yeah, like even so, the whole JMC Academy thing, for a year, from the get go, it was like I wanted to be there, but I didn't want to be around all these people. So I'd just sit at the back. I wouldn't even like open the textbook. I'd just be sitting there, lecturers talking, everyone's discussing things. And like I learned stuff. Look, it's not that I'm not listening, it's just I just don't want to be around these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even like just now thinking about it, like I'm starting to go back into a kind of where the whole body is just kind of I'm starting to get numb. But yeah, so we'd have like 2 breaks during the day, and every break I just go to the toilet into one of the cubicles and just stay there until it breaks over. I buy my lunch before getting to the JMC, and then when lunchtime comes, I'd go, into the toilet and eat my lunch. And like so, far like, and at the time, I don't know why I was doing it, because and so yeah, this happened every day. In the end, I didn't even like pass. I failed the whole thing. Well, I did like a certificate 4, so I got my certificate 3.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't get the certificate 4. But yeah, that's another thing. Like how like they teach you that you have to make coffee after you leave here. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting orders. I'm not taking orders. Getting lunch for everyone, man. I came here to produce music. I came here to record people. It's like,
yeah.
They teach you, you got to make coffee and do assistant engineer stuff. Yeah, nah.
Straight to the top, bro. Straight to the top.
Yeah, nah, so,
what's this runner shit?
Yeah, I know, mate. Come on.
They only do that in America, in the US, don't they?
I mean, like, I understand, like, they're saying, like, you know, you do your apprenticeship and then work your way to the top. But, like, at the time, I'm like, no, you don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
So, and then I finished it, kind of stopped wanting to do music because of their whole experience. And then went back to playing footy. And footy became my escape then. And then wanted to be a footy player. Wanted to play for the Wallabies. Funnily enough.
What's going on there? Thanks for joining me today, bro. I'll see you next. Long as you didn't start going for the Waratahs, bro. Like, Hurricanes all day. You're
Hurricanes. I'm Hurricanes to the core, man.
Wow, my man.
But
let's talk about that. Actually, if you end up doing a podcast episode, the Wundaland podcast on the Hurricanes, you call me because I'm in all day.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
The stats man. Oh man. I could go on for hours. Yeah, I just love my Hurricanes.
Same.
Okay, sorry. So back to so you got away from the music and sort of got your put your boots back on, so to speak, and started playing footy. How long was it till you started to get the itch to get back into the music, and how did you or did going back to play footy, did that kind of bring you out of that sort of introvert thing? Or what sort of got you out of that, you reckon?
I think so. Because I was playing with older guys, and a different different teams too. So I played for Penrith Union, and then moved over to Two Blues Parramatta, and then played a little bit of New South Wales Colts or Sydney Colts, and then even had a go at Sydney Samoans too. So I got to play with different teams and kind of mingled with different people for the first time, which changed my my social skills. Had to listen to different coaches. After the game, outside off the field, is like you party with different guys from other teams, and that time in footy. Now that you mentioned it, I guess it did help me come out of that shell. But I don't know when the itch to go back into music happened. I guess from when I didn't want to train anymore.
Just at a party with me, the guitar there. Oh, that's right. This thing.
I guess. Got a job as a glazer, and then I think I just decided. Oh no, you know what? So my wife now. That's when I met my wife now. I was just mucking around with beats for a hip hop crew. We started a hip hop crew in New Mount Druitt, and then there was a cassette tape, and she got a hold of it, and kind of just got in contact with me to just before she was my wife. Got in contact with me to produce her album. So I guess that was my ticket. That was my ticket out of footy, and my ticket out of working, because I didn't mind glazing, but I didn't want to do it forever. So I thought I'd give it a crack. And then I started playing, and then so that process, the whole recording of her album, I never really played chords or anything when I was doing the hip hop stuff. It was just pretty much beats, samples, and just tattooing on the keys, pressing notes. But yeah, when I did her album, it was like I was playing chords that I never usually played. So that was like that was a challenge, and I was excited to enter a new world of my music kind of thing. I think that was where the itch came back. Yeah, so I stopped footy, finished work, and went back into making music. And then she got me into doing work for Idol TV.
So hang on. So for people who don't know, your wife is Erina Clark.
Yeah.
And if you're a New Zealander, you'll know who Erina Clark is. She's awesome. And Erina was the voice coach on Australian Idol, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, she started on Popstars. Popstars was the first one.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. And then that kind of turned into Australian Idol. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, and then that was like another thing altogether. Like, hell, this is like this Polynesian kid who's never played chords before, all of a sudden is on this big time, prime time television show. Well, not on it, but like working on it, sort of thing. So the pressure was on, and like I got thrown into the deep end there. Like you had to do things yesterday.
Yeah, right.
For those kind of shows.
Right. That's serious pressure, right?
Hell yeah.
Serious pressure.
And you had to get it right the first time. So I was so we had a studio in DY and we were doing all the actual workshops from there. All the stuff you saw on TV was just kind of for TV. So all the actual contestants and judges would come over to our studio and I'd do all the workshops. So I'd be recording the workshops and doing some arrangements, recording some of the backing tracks for the songs that they use live. Yeah. And then kind of just moved on to, natural progression to X Factor and doing other shows, TV shows, and then working my way into library music. So I got a gig with Warner Chappell Production. Just doing whatever they wanted me to do.
Yep.
So I did 30-second snippets, anything. And then they shop it out to TV, movies, radio, jingles, anything.
Right.
Phone, hold.
Yep.
Sort of thing. So
just on that then, because I know I've talked to people on the podcast before that are involved in that whole sort of sound library stuff.
Yeah.
And so when you're working for Sony, were you just sort of working for them as an employee? And if say for example, you did a snippet or whatever, and that hit and that got on a top show. I know a couple of guys that's happened to, and they've got royalties for that, and that stuff's still coming.
Yeah.
Were you in that kind of position? You don't have to talk about that if you don't want to, but
I never got a TV theme. But I have some of my stuff's been on Judge Judy.
Cool.
Sometimes I one time I was in a hotel, I turned the TV on, and there was this real estate program, like one of those English cottage places that just went onto the channel, and one of my songs was playing on that. Not a reality shows. I had a song that was used by a wrestler, his entrance thing once. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. Like, damn, I love wrestling. And there's this guy, what was his name? Caprice Coleman or something like that. He was no rock, but like, he still used my song as his entrance theme. That was pretty cool.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That answers that question. So just going back to when you would have the contestants and the judges coming into your studio that you had there in DY. So did they help you sort of set up the studio a certain way, or did you know what to expect when they were going to be coming in to do these sessions in regards to what gear you needed or that you had, or did you have to sort of upscale? Did they help you upscale, or was it just you just did what you had to do with what you had?
Yeah, we pretty much did what we had to do. We had it set up previously before that to do my stuff and to do Erina's vocal coaching outside of like TV. So she did private lessons too. So it was already kind of set up that way. And then just the whole TV thing was a pretty easy transition. It was more just, on a personnel level, like it was just sleepless nights. Yeah, but it was cool. It was a good experience. Hell yeah, it was a real good experience. Would I do it all over again? Hell yeah. Yeah, man. Look, I had fun and learnt so much stuff. And I worked with.
Do you think that pressure brought the best out of you, or?
Yeah, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, and I learned so much stuff. I worked with John Foreman, who was the MD on Idol, with Chong Lim on a couple of albums with Sony. So it was like I'm learning from these veterans, these pros. I'll get stuff wrong. Like I import files at the wrong frequency, bit rate.
Yeah,
so I've done that too. I lost a job, Channel 7 job, doing that. We won't get into that. You learn from mistakes. So it was all like higher and faster than it was meant to be. They were like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Oh, man.
But it was, the whole thing was a good experience. Like I would do it all over again.
Yeah, that's cool. If is there any sort of opportunities for that stuff these days? I suppose the TV works pretty close shop. I guess they've. Well,
it's only like The Voice now, as far as reality shows, I guess. Yeah, but
I heard Idol was coming back. Australian Idol was coming back.
I've been hearing that from the year it stopped.
Oh, okay.
So you'll be waiting in another 10 years for that one. I don't know.
While you were, I guess maybe you wouldn't have had time to do it, but were you playing in bands and that kind of stuff around that time, or was this just
no? I never played. I never played live then.
Okay.
Not because not because that I couldn't. I think at the time, not because of time constraints, but I think I wasn't comfortable playing live.
Okay, so was that's the introvert thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I don't even know. I didn't start playing cover gigs live till this Uptown Funk thing, which was 2 or 3 years ago. And that was pretty much my first covers gig.
Okay.
Because I remember it, I was nervous as hell. I was sweating. My hands were shaking.
Different kind of pressure, eh?
It's different. I was asking around for some Valium. That's how bad it was. Like, I didn't even want to drink. Like, man, give me some of the heavy stuff. I was so nervous because I had learned the songs. Like, I may have overlearned the songs.
Yeah.
And put the pressure on myself because it ended up being a cool gig.
Yeah.
And fun. But, that first gig, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Just, I don't want to go through that feeling again. Just nerves. Just the nerves are just crazy with me.
Yeah.
And then ended up playing 3-4 times a week, which is cool. Now, I just do duo stuff. Me and Ashley, my stepdaughter, we just do duos. I come out of retirement every month. Just
Do you still get nervous? Or are you pretty cool now?
No, not at the duo gigs.
Okay.
Because now it's like I don't mind if I play something wrong now. I just kind of go with it. It's just, now it's just a jam. Like I play songs different every time now. And I'm happy. I'm cool with that. Yeah, no, I don't get nervous at gigs anymore. I get nervous at other things, but not with music.
That's cool. Who are some musicians that inspire you? Let's start with, say, guitarists.
That's hard, eh? You know what? One of the earliest guitarists that I grew up listening to was Chet Atkins.
Really? Right.
There's another one. My dad had a record of him when I was growing up.
Yep.
So I used to listen to him all the time. And I still watch his videos now. And like it's just his playing is just so relaxing and calming.
Yeah. Yeah. He did. That was cool when the first time I heard of Chet Atkins is when he did some stuff with Mark Knopfler.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yep.
So one of them would definitely be Chet Atkins. I can't really think of. I've never been like one of those solo guitarists, say like the big solo sounding guys like Steve Vai or like those guys.
I get you. Yeah.
I'm more of a kind of just love to chill and listen to kick back to kind of chill.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Musicians.
Yeah, gotcha.
So
but I mean, yeah, we've all got them. We've all got those inspirational players that give us something that other players don't. You know what I mean?
I guess, well, just thinking now, like George Benson. I saw him live. He was playing here in Sydney with Marcus Miller. I think Marcus Miller was in the band too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, bro, the guy's a freak.
Yeah.
Sing, and then he starts singing. I was like, oh, hell. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess Chet Atkins and George Benson.
Yeah, cool. Now, what about bass players?
Bass players? Damn. You know, I don't have a favorite bass player. Because I don't listen to music because of the bass player, eh? Funnily enough. I guess, you know, I like listening to Jacko. I like listening to, like, the heavy funk stuff. You know, Larry Graham.
Yep.
Brothers Johnson.
Yeah, Marcus Miller, obviously.
Marcus Miller. There's just too many. There's actually too many bass players.
Yeah.
That just hold the bottom end. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Who's the Mark King?
Mark King,
42.
yeah.
Bro,
I was just about to say him.
Level 42.
In Masterton, there was a group of bass players that sort of brought that music into Masterton.
Yeah.
And the first time I ever heard Running in the Family was a live version. It was one of these fellas in my town playing it.
Yeah.
And all the other bass players were like, oh, man, he can play Running in the Family. Like, you know, he's the man. You know, everyone's trying to copy him and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I heard the original. And then from there, the Level 42 stuff I got into, there's an album, it's called Guaranteed, and it came out about 92, 93. And it's got Alan Holsworth playing guitar on it.
Yep.
And I don't know if you heard of a drummer and a piano player called Gary Husband. They're playing a Level 42, and that stuff's just awesome. But I could listen to Mark King all day. He's just, you know, there's a guy that can sing his ass off and play his ass off at the same time. Yeah. You know, just
born with it.
Amazing. He started off as a drummer. Did you know that?
Yeah. I have read a little bit on him.
Yeah.
But
he was he was the best drummer in their town.
Yeah, true.
Right. I can't. Was it Isle of Wight or something? Oh, I'm probably wrong there. But yeah, so their town in the area, he was the best drummer in town.
Yeah, right.
And so he.
That wasn't enough for him.
Wasn't enough for him. No. There's heaps of other drummers around, not many bass players. So he started playing bass, and became the best bass player in town.
The bass playing drummer. Hey.
That's it. Yeah. Well, what about drummers then?
Questlove.
Oh yeah, awesome. You know what? That your Kilograms album. There's some parts of that remind me of the Roots. You can hear your Roots, the Roots influence in there.
The Roots are one of my biggest hip hop influences, eh?
Yep.
From the first time I ever heard their album.
Yep.
Actually, I heard their second album first, which is Philadelphia Half-Life. But yeah, from that moment on, I was like, I'm stuck on these guys. And I was lucky to see them live too, and it was like the best live show I've ever been to.
Wow. That's awesome.
But yeah, Quest love purely because like hip hop. That's like I love hip hop and I love that live hip hop scene. I'm sure there's other ones I can't think of right now.
Yeah, well that'll do.
Yeah. The usual, Clyde, James Brown.
Yeah, Stubberfield.
Yep. But yeah.
Yep. Heaps. Could go on all day.
I love that tight drum sound.
Yeah. So that album I just mentioned, Kilograms, so that came out 2019. How long was that in the making? Did you just decide, I'm going to do an album, let's put some songs together, or some of these songs sort of been on the boil for years?
Yeah, so on that album, there's like a few songs that I had, because up until then I hadn't released anything officially. So I had songs 2-3 years before I released it. You could probably if you listen carefully, my voice is different on a few of those songs. The older it is, the older the song, the higher my pitch.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a while. Then I decided, I've got to put out a project. So, and I still love these songs, so I put it all on the one album. Yeah, and I just kind of decided that was my goal at the time to release an album. Man, so even releasing the album is a story. Because we were moving, my missus decided to move house kind of like a day, 2 days before I had the album release. And I was still working on the album up until moving the house. We moved the house even, and I was still trying to record and mix the album in the van. Sort of thing, moving van. So that was probably a really stressful time because I had not the album released, because I had the live album launch too at the same time. So it released on the live album launch. So I had the pressure of the live launch, the pressure of actually finishing the album, and the pressure of moving house. And moving house is, as you might know, people will know, that's the most stressful thing in the world.
Yep.
So yeah, that all kind of, and when it when that live album launch finished, I collapsed. The next day, it was just so much relief in my body and a whole lot of weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
And I promised to never ever do that again. And here I am now. Hey, working on the second one.
Yeah. All right, tell us about the second album then. What have we got? What have we got in store? Similar sort of stuff, or you sort of changed tack a bit?
So my thing is always, feel good hip hop.
Yep.
There's enough. I figured, there's enough kind of emotional, sad, street storytelling stuff out there. So I'm naturally a kind of cheerful guy now. Well, my missus wouldn't say that, but so everything I do, I try to make it so people will feel good or some kind of happiness. So it's pretty much a continuation of that. You'll hear the same vibe. I love string arrangements. So I'll sit down, work on an arrangement for days and just I love live instrumentation, so I'll make a point of trying to play everything in a take. Even my vocals, I'll go from the beginning to the end of the verse without dropping in, which probably people don't really care about this stuff, but that's kind of like my mindset at the moment. So there's little kind of goals here and there. It still has, like, you know, hip-hop influence, soul, funk, gospel. And I try to make... I'd actually make a point of trying to sound different, trying to make my music sound different. So I'll chuck in a bridge. You won't hear many bridges in hip-hop songs. I'll just chuck one in because, you know, no one else has one.
And key changes. Key changes.
Yeah, bro. At least one or two key changes.
At least two key changes, yeah.
Because, like, you know, you don't hear Jay-Z with a key change. Eh? So, yeah, I'll make a point of trying to make my stuff different. And it's always challenging to me. Which keeps me on my toes and keeps me excited and keen to finish it. Sort of thing. And I've got a few guests. Always try and get some guests on my my albums. Who was on my first one? I had a few guys. I had a guy. I only had one rapper guest on my first one, and I tried to get him. His name's Afakasi from Brisbane. First time I heard his stuff was on Triple J Unearthed, and we released something at the same time, like separate tracks. I didn't know him at the time, but I saw him, and I saw his track, and I listened to it. I was like, damn, this guy's the man. So I had to connect with him. I sent him a message, and I got him on one of my songs, and then tried to hit him up for my second album. And I didn't know this at the time. I messaged him, and then I noticed on his... Because I noticed he hadn't posted for a while on Facebook and Instagram, and then I saw on his Facebook page that everyone was sending him condolences, and, you know, he had passed away. So that was kind of pretty sad. The only guy I'd ever get to feature on my stuff, the only rapper, and, you know, bit of a downer, but... So on... Who else have I got? I've got my stepdaughter Ashley, who is known artistically as Shelby Wright. She'll be on this album. Been working with a girl called Matea. She's in Haiku Hands. I don't know if you know Haiku Hands. They're like a Aussie pop group. She's done stuff with Fundamentals, a whole lot of Aussie hip-hop artists. So, yeah, she's jumping on a couple of tracks. I always try to get local guests, see.
Yep.
People that don't usually release stuff or people might not have heard of. And, yeah. It's kind of me helping the other artists, I guess.
Yeah. That's cool. Can't wait to hear it, man. So what's the new album called? Are you allowed to say that yet, or are you waiting?
Oh, yeah, no, it's called...
okay, yep.
So I kind of have this picture in my head of what this album represents. Like I'm going into new territory, exploring new things. So I decided to call this album La Maravilla Marron, which is Spanish for the Brown Wunda.
Oh, cool.
So it's kind of me being like an ambassador of my music and sharing it, you know, with unknown, uncharted territory sort of thing. Yeah, and like I'm always interested in other people's cultures, and one of my mates from work is Peruvian, and just one day he called me La Maravilla Marron, and I'm like, bro, what was it? Bro, say it again.
Can you write it? Can you get to write it down? Get the spelling right.
Yeah. How do you say that? Yeah, so
get it to the printers.
So I'm like, bro, that's my next album, La Maravilla Marron. So yeah, it kind of started from there, and even like, you know how rappers always have like a different name too.
Yeah.
So the Ambassador Cool kind of came from that too.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's cool. So new album coming out soon, the Wundaland Podcast, and that's spelt Wunda, not WONDER. Where can we get the podcast? Where's it at?
Podcast, you can find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google too, I think.
Yep.
The Google Podcasts.
Have you got a link tree? Have you got a link tree?
I do have a link tree on my Instagram.
Okay, I'll put that in the show notes of this episode. So
cheers, bro.
Everyone go to the link tree and check out the Wundaland podcast. It's pretty awesome.
So yeah, it's all kind of like the album, the podcast. It's all kind of like part of the journey and just a step towards other goals in my life that kind of keep me going.
That's great, man. Thanks for joining me today, bro. A2. Oh, can I ask where A2 came from?
Oh, yeah. So, bro, that's a whole nother story. No, it's not much of a story.
Let's go.
So my actual name is Christian.
Yep.
Yeah, what do you call it? On a birth certificate, government name. Birth is Christian Lauofo. But my parents gave me a Samoan name, which is Aitu, A-I-T-U. But like a couple of, my Aussie mates saw my name spelt out, the Aitu, and started calling me A2.
Okay.
And then when I started a hip-hop group, couldn't think of a name. So I just said A2. So now I'm like capital A number 2.
That's cool.
So that so most people actually know me by A2. And that become kind of my, music name, producer name. And then when I decided to actually release stuff, I thought, well, maybe I should change my name even further and just keep it separate, like my producer name and my artist project name as the Brown Wunda.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got like 3 sets of names.
Got a few alter egos, bro. Yeah. I've been trying to catch you skip between each sort of character, but I haven't
and it's
seen
funny,
that yet.
because like people don't know what to call me now. Like when they message me on Facebook and stuff, it's like, hey, and that's it.
What did I say? I think I went, hey, bro.
Well, that's
probably
most
bro. That's a good one.
Hey, Mr. Wunda.
Awesome, bro. Been great talking to you, man. Everybody check out the Wundaland podcast and look out for A2's music. It's also on Bandcamp, so there's links to that in the show notes. Looking forward to hearing more episodes of this podcast, bro. It's piqued my interest. I'm really enjoying it, and I got to work on my intro game.
No, man, likewise. I've been listening to your podcast for ages, bro. You're a veteran in the game, man.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
Nah, man, you keep doing what you do. One of the reasons I started was because you're doing it.
Really? Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
wow,
man. I listened to your podcast like for ages before I actually had the balls to do it.
Oh, thanks, bro. That's cool, man.
And like, you got like so many. You got some legends on your podcast, man.
Yeah, been lucky, man. And now I got another one on, so that's cool.
Oh, my man. My man. Cheers, brother.
Awesome, bro. Take care of yourself, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers.
All right, later, bro.